people injured here. 1v1, Calderis Refinery, blue side. It's Crewfinity as a Grey Knight brother captain. Unfortunately not using the Grey Knight scheme, he's using the Blood Raven scheme, but oh well. A very durable commander, walks through objects and cannot be suppressed on really good offense and support fights in melee combat up against its eco-friendly Protagonist as a Chaos Sorcerer, offensive and destructive commander. Lots of great manipulation and control abilities and some decent killy offense as well. Looks like some Thousand Suns, but they're missing a badge, probably because it's a custom badge that he's using, and since I've not played with him, it's not on my PC, so you can't see it, unfortunately. Well, here we go. Grey Knights in a 1v1. Isn't it exciting? I don't think I've seen a Grey Knight 1v1 in 2.3.1. Certainly not more than a handful of them. And I'm interested to see how they're doing, because I think 2.3.1 was when Grey Knights became really fun and competitive to play in team games. We'll see if they're fun and competitive in 1v1s. You see a triple Inquisitorial Stormtrooper opening for Crewfinity. Lots of talk about the strength of Rhinos at the moment. They certainly are strong. Not sure if they're too strong in team games. Anyway, we'll see how they do for Crewfinity if he goes for them here in this 1v1. Maybe that super heavy infantry and mobility and 25 DPS is a bit too much in a 1v1 game for the Grey Knights with this triple Stormtrooper opening. Threat squad, I feel, are pretty strong at the moment. No sign of them yet. We might see. I mean, there's a lot of stuff he could do here. Triple Stormtroopers into pretty much anything is pretty cool and pretty good, since these guys have the same firing pattern as the Imperial Guard Stormtroopers. So they have that big burst and then that rather long reload. So you can burst, move away, kind of like a sniper unit in a way. And he's going after a generator straight away with two of the Stormtroopers, and it is a Rhino on the way. Chaos Sorcerer, though, can hurt Grey Knights quite a lot with his control and manipulation. Is it worth it to get Purifiers against a Sorcerer with the Robes of Torment? I mean, if you're very diligent at targeting that central mass and destroying it, it might be. But he's pretty bad news for Terminators in general, which is a large chunk of Grey Knight tier 3. These guys take down a generator and are now going for the node. But the captain caps the natural, so it's a double cap now. And Protagonist takes his natural. Doombolt's doing the business on the Rhino. Has this 25 DPS pintle mounted storm bottle that will only fire on targets in a 180 degree or so arc in front of the Rhino, so it won't spin around and hit targets behind it. More heretics on the way for Protagonist, and it is a purgation squad for Crewfinity. I'm pretty expected, I suppose, with the Rhino up. Quite a shooty army right here. Purgation do a very good job against heretics, especially default heretics without their aspiring champion. Those incinerators they carry really do hurt. This Rhino getting very low here. 650 hit points of super heavy infantry armor is quite a big chunk, but it is a large target, so it does suffer from even bolters and stuff hitting it a lot more reliably. Purgation squad caught by aspiring champion heretics here. That was sloppy play from Crewfinity, but he does get them out of there without a model loss, I think. And now the heretics are losing models like crazy. Tried desperately to get a model, but ended up losing all but the aspiring champion. The aspiring champion being a Chaos Marine with bolt pistol and chainsaw. But what's going on further up the map? The brother captain making a huge nuisance of himself. Look how long he's been on the field. He's still got 1,000 hit points. Heretics do cap, but they lose all but 3 models, and now the Sorcerer wants to fight him. He does start with a 30 DPS power melee weapon, the brother captain, but he only has 4 speed. He's the slowest commander out the gate. Does have the Arda Hammer though, his starting ability, which gives him a speed boost. Heretics getting their aspiring champion going after the brother captain, so double aspiring champion heretics. Those Purgation are going to be very important in their usage, but I think he's going straight for a power bash. Purgation loaded up inside the Rhino. And we see double gens here. Is he going straight for it? Is he just going mid to contest the central VP or help out his brother captain here? Stormtroopers get out. Purgation get out a little bit too slow there. Purgation do have an ability called Purged by Flame. which will instantly slow down a unit or infantry model. Great for trying to control Chaos Lords and Hive Tyrants and stuff that can't be suppressed, because these incinerators will suppress targets, and they do it pretty well these days with a good chunk of damage. Sorcerer Doom Bolts on that Rhino is painful. He is forced off eventually. Gonna need some repairs. Stormtroopers are the repair unit for Grey Knights, which might seem a bit odd, but let's roll with it. More purgation on the way for Crewfinity. Heretics bashing this contested power on the east. Rhino, I think, thought about pushing a bit more forward, but is worried about being so low on health. One squad is repairing. Purgation will power bash. Notice that the Purgation squad have 3 incinerators, so they do lose quite a lot of effectiveness every time they lose or drop a model, which is one of their downsides compared to, say, Noise Marines, which are awesome, since they only have 1 Sonic Blaster, which does the full damage of 3 of them from retail, and 2 models with bolters. So you can run them around quite happily with 2 models and bash power and stuff and do all sorts of damage and horrible things to melee units as they run in. Don't suppress, of course, but they do have cacophony. Here is the second Purgation squad. There you see the suppression on these Eternal War Chaos Space Marines. They can pretty much do nothing, and look at the damage as well. Now they're trying to turn and engage, but they will be suppressed again. Here come some aspiring champion heretics. A very small amount of them, just 3 to tie them up. CSM losing so much health, but it was evenly distributed, so they don't drop a model. Purgation also do not drop a model from the heretics. Heretics are a detect unit, as you can see. Rhino back up to full health, sitting around the mid. It's going to be a 2-to-1 for Protagonist, and he's going tier 2. The Rhino can get a hull mounted las cannon in tier 2 or a hull mounted twin linked heavy bolter, and they will not replace this storm bolter on the front, so it gets a pretty decent amount of firepower, to be honest. If you get the heavy bolter, there's a lot of anti-infantry firepower, especially since it's piercing damage to light infantry such as the heretics. A lot of people do just straight up blind by the las cannon though, since it will still hit infantry with the little amount of splash it has, and of course deal with the vehicles quite nicely. Will deal with the blood crusher very nicely. Protagonist could walk it out. We'll see what he goes for. Might go for some Plague Marines and try and use his manipulation to get them into striking distance of this Rhino. There's the Doom Bolts, and he's forced off. 469, 342. Crewfinity with this very heavy tier 1. Doing okay so far. Now he's going up again to look at that power. 469, 342. Heretics do not want to fight that and are forced to retreat out. All the way back to base. These guys are not going to do a whole lot either. He's got 3 aspiring champion heretics. He's going to bleed so much against double purgation, I think, unless he can catch them unawares. Kind of surprised we haven't seen Sigil of the Rift from Protagonist yet. I suppose he thinks the purgation might just jump into the Rhino if he tries to use it. It's good for trying to get units into danger using your heretics. Double purgation are going to try and shot these heretics, but as you can see, he's dragging them around the corner, which can be painful for ranged units, since they need to get right around the corner to start firing around the big shot blocker, and the heretics can dart in as you saw there, but they are getting roasted literally. Sorcerer with no vestments of the warp either to try and quickly tie them up. He's going for the blood crosser, which is surprising to me. Maybe, I suppose he knows he's way ahead in terms of tech, and that Crewfinity can't get the las cannon up or side cannons for the purgation. That is a big assumption, but he is right. And he's bashing power. This blood crusher could do a lot of damage, or you could just see everything pile into the Rhino and run away from it. Rhino getting very low again. Purgation seems to be very, very determined to take down this node, and they do so. Might want to retreat out of there, because this is a bit dicey. Wow, there is the demonic summoning, spitting out bloodletters on rear armor of that Rhino. Took it down very quickly. Purgation hanging around here, and they do retreat out. That will periodically spit out bloodletters. I think it's for 15 seconds. and you can also reinforce your stuff around it. Pretty useful global for the Sorcerer. He has some pretty nice globals in general. Looks like Protagonist lagged at some point. Double blood crushers? No, just a UI glitch. I thought that was a bit quick to get double blood crushers out. Here it is, a demon with vehicle armor. It's basically a blood crusher riding a juggernaut, I believe. So pretty mean. Has heavy melee damage, single target. Pretty quick. Not the toughest vehicle around with 600 hit points, but it does benefit greatly from worship being a demon, and that's how you use these things. Look at this. He's running around his heretics with it. 469, 275. The Protagonist behind on VPs, but he's in a decent position being tier 2 way before Crewfinity and has stole his power here. Weird game, says Protagonist. Here comes the Brother Captain with his army. He's so good at supporting blobs with We Are the Hammer. And supporting your purgation with We Are the Hammer is not too shabby, since you get that speed buff for them to avoid things and get into range quicker. Brother Captain will try and cap that back. Purgation do not want to meet this army in range combat. Burn, instant suppression from double purgation there, and look at the damage. Wow, 430, 275, double cap for Protagonist. It's going to be a 2-to-1. What's going on here? Doom bolts avoided by the Stormtroopers, trying to force melee combat as the heretics retreat past there. Where's that blood crusher up to? He's hanging back. Not even sure if Crewfinity has seen it yet. Now he's seen it. 417, 275. Warp fire missing the Stormtroopers there. It also has demon armor. Can use that to support the blood crusher or his heretics maybe as they run in. Kind of surprised he hasn't got any grenade launchers yet. Maybe double grenade launchers with one melee squad to disrupt those purgation as the blood crusher runs in and tears them to shreds. But he's bleeding a lot here. Protagonist just spent most of his resources on war gear. Level 2 Sorcerer, but the Captain also level 2 with the Blessed Aegis. Pretty standard purchase for the Brother Captain, just makes him tougher, and ignore that 3.5 energy per second. It obviously means 3.5 health per second. 388, 275 on the tooltip I'm talking about. Here comes the Blood Crusher, which laughs at your incinerators with its vehicle armor. Special attack has a relatively decent special attack. Would perhaps like to see that thing buffed a little bit. It's a nice quick animation, but it's only a front attack. Doesn't seem to do a lot of damage, but you do get the knockback, of course, as you see there. 374, 275. Heretics forced to retreat. Another special attack there that would have been if these guys didn't retreat out. Surely he can turn around and get a model off those guys. I think it's around 90 DPS heavy melee this guy does. He's not turning around and attacking the other squad. Doesn't even try to. That was weird. Maybe he was looking at the rest of his army here. Marcus Zinc CSM. Tons and tons of range damage versus heavy and super heavy infantry. Not too shabby against all infantry really. Another Rhino for Crewfinity. Stormtroopers were wiped out by the Dark Flames, I think there. Not sure what happened to the other squad. Oh, there's the rest of them. Wiped out by a warp fire maybe. Well, that's depleted Crewfinity's army pretty significantly and pretty quickly. What is he going to do here? Las cannon up on the Rhino as predicted to deal with the Blood Crusher and also shoot and crap out heretics and double side cannons. Wow. 4.43 explosive DPS doing good damage to all targets with a small area of effect. One of the Heritage squads going down for Protagonist, so this will damage all targets. Do require a short setup now, but the Blood Crusher is in a bit of trouble. Might need to be walked out at some point. It's not fantastic AV though. Recently I ran 2 Side Cannon Purgation squads up to a Lehman Russ, and it basically laughed at them. They just barely scratched it, since it has that 35% damage resistance inherent. It's constant DPS, which I mean isn't terrible, but you'd always prefer burst damage, especially when you're firing on large targets. 350, 256. More Stormtroopers for Crewfinity just to get that repair support on the field, I think. Eco-friendly protagonist. With a decent amount of resources here. Some bloodletters I was thinking. No, he goes for Plague Marines. Anti-vehicle unit. Got very, very tough, so you can use them for a lot more stuff. Capping, generally tying things up, or being a nuisance in cover. What is he going to do about this Blood Crusher and these double purgation and the las cannon? Just keep it away from them. Try and hunt down stormtroopers. Go toe to toe with the brother captain. Here are the Plague Marines. Can do a lot of cool stuff with the Plague Marines and the Sorcerer. Warping them around and getting them into combat quicker. And in fact, he is going for the Sigil of the Rift. So it looks like his priority is dealing with that Rhino. And then I suppose you can try and swarm those double purgation with heretics, not to mention the amount of damage these level 2 Marcus Inc. CSM are going to do to them. There's the Warp Rift, I think the ability is called, yes. Gets purgation into all sorts of trouble. He's going to whack them both, I think. Is he? No, they get away. That was pretty odd. Well, they do get away. Should have whacked them both by all accounts. Rhino, forgotten about, I think, is being chased down by the Blood Crusher. Look at the big chunks of health the las cannon is taken. I don't think it's going to catch it up there. And he's going to finish off the Blood Crusher, I think. Smack. Down it goes. Demon armor didn't go up quickly enough. I don't think it would have saved it. In a way, Plague Marines might finish off this Rhino if he's not careful. So there was me thinking he was going to use the Warp Rift to get the Plague Marines closer to the Rhino. Actually used it to get the purgation into all sorts of trouble, and these guys are very lucky to get out. Good play by Protagonist. Crewfinity obviously did not see the marker quickly enough, did not get them out of there. Because Space Marines getting their aspiring champion basically just gives them another gun to fire. Another 18 DPS Inferno. Crewfinity with tons of red. Wow, almost 750. Some Zinch worship infiltrating these guys, and we don't have a detector in Crewfinity's army at the moment. Needs to purchase a sergeant for his stormtroopers. The first time I've seen the Zinch worship used. Protagonist going for the triple cap. CSM will be revealed as they cap. He should just turn around and shoot with them now, I think. No. Spawn some bloodletters in there to cause havoc. Firing upon the Rhino with the Plague Marines. As you can see, they don't do a huge amount of damage. Rhino has been converted to vehicle armor, by the way, which is why it's gone down to 500 hit points. 3-1-2-1-9-1, triple cap for Protagonist. On the front foot big time here after that Warp Rift purgation play. These guys are level 2. But it is going to be outshot by the Marcos Inc. CSM pretty handily here. Brother Captain has gone for the Nemesis Force Halberd. He's level 4 as well, so he's going to run straight at these Marcos Inc. CSM. I think these guys are level 3, and he will tear them apart with that Halberd. I think it's, 83.3 power melee DPS. A huge amount of damage, and it has a splash. I think it's 15 splash. There's the Warp Fire, 247-191. Plague Marines being annoying in cover there. Eventually persuaded to leave, but Protagonist has the triple cap and is looking pretty dire. But Crewfinity goes for Purifies, knowing that the Sorcerer does not have Robes of Torment, or of course he could just purchase it. Rhino able to tank the Marcos Inc. CSM since it has the vehicle armor. Well, they in turn are tanking it inside that Demon Shield. Here comes the Brother Captain. This Warp Rift doesn't affect retreating units. And here are the Purifiers. These guys are awesome. So fun to see. Power melee damage, and the Justicar has a heavy melee Nemesis Demon Hammer. And the Marcos Inc. CSM do not want to fight those guys in melee combat. Chaos Dreadnought though for Protagonist. Most likely Markov Pawn to tear these guys apart. 159-191. Is he going to get Robes of Torment as well? Wouldn't put it past him. Would make it very difficult for Crewfinity to use the Purify as well. But the Captain's taking mid. He's going to get the 2-to-1 hit. Protagonist maybe stayed up a little bit too long, but you want to keep the pressure on, I suppose. It's that mix between keeping the pressure up and keeping your things on the field. There's the 2-1, 153, 188. Triple gens up for both players, yes. Here is the Chaos Dreadnought. You need 100 rec, 30 power, I believe, to give it a mark. No mark yet. Begins with an auto cannon, but I assume he wants a mark of corn so he can run it into these purifiers and rip their heads off and then warp it out of trouble or something. Purifiers are awesome. Have the longest charge range in the game, and that Justicar gives them the Psychic Field, I believe it's called. Pretty cool ability. Does plasma damage over time, which gets higher and higher each second the longer it's on the field, so you generally want to avoid it. They usually use it, put it at their feet, and then fight in the energy field. So whatever melee unit they are fighting is probably going to lose that fight if they use it there. Is he going to bash power or flank inwards? Chaos Dreadnought still without a mark. Tier 3 for Crewfinity has so much red. Could drop a loot immediately when he gets there and still have enough red for a land raider if he so wants. Plague Marines, where are they going? There's a shot on the Rhino. Purify is actually engaging the Plague Marines. Dreadnought taking huge amounts of damage. 153, 151. You can support Purgation DPS quite nicely with the Grey Knight Global that I forget the name of. It's the first one that boosts damage and melee skill. Purgation, where they gone to? They're off the field. They were warp rifted, I think. Rhino might go down here. Heretics off the field. Dreadnought still lives somehow. Down goes the Rhino. Purifier's getting wrecked by Marcus Zinch, and there are Bloodletters spawned in. Really great usage of this global by Protagonist. Purifier's just about getting out of there, and they lost their Justicar. That's pretty painful for Crewfinity. Down goes the brother captain. There's a Hell Fury strike out of sheer frustration, maybe. Brother captain tossed aside by the Sorcerer. And the Chaos Dreadnought lives. Took so much damage at the start of the engagement, but then the Purifiers was forced off the field, I think, by the Warp Rift. And that damage fell off. These guys are level 3. They are doing good damage. Chaos Dreadnought needs repairs badly. Heretics are the repair unit for Chaos. It'll take them a while to repair it up, though. Tier 3 for both players. Crewfinity with tons of red, but not much else. He needs to reinforce his Purifiers and repurchase the Justicar, which is not cheap. They got a bunch of XP there, so they did kill stuff. 1-to-1 cap still. Nobody has mid. Looks like Crewfinity might take it. Nope. There's a... Look how the range you get on Warp Rift. Gets his CSM up quickly and his Plague Marines, but they run into Psycannon fire and a grenade from the Stormtroopers. What, those Stormtroopers, these were the guys that threw the grenade. I was confused there because those guys don't have a sergeant. How did they throw a grenade? It was actually these guys who ran into the Warp Rift and got deaded. They got seriously deaded. Level 4 Chaos Space Marines. Just doing an ungodly amount of damage. Crewfinity annoyed at the Sorcerer trickery here. 153, 151. Not a good day for the legendary Grey Knights. 153, 151. Yeah, he's using that Rod of Warp fight in range stance pretty damn good. Chaos Dreadnought level 2. 35 piercing DPS. Good grief, that's a lot. It's more than a Master Crafted Bolter, I think, for the Tech Marine. For the captain level 5. Chaos Predator on the way for eco-friendly Protagonist. That is going to be painful. Can't see a way back for Crewfinity, but you never know. Purifiers could get in, have a really good engagement and wipe these Chaos Space Marines. It would be very lucky to do so, I think, given that the Sorcerer could warp them out of trouble if it comes to that. Here we go, they're running in there. So that super long charge range. The Purgation doing a good job, but since they're level 4 they only dropped one model and managed to decap. 128, 151. Not resting on his laurels either, he's capping stuff, or at least trying to. Zinc Shrine mid. This will shoot out Doom Bolts periodically, also grant a 10% damage resistance to Protagonist units. You can worship it for those bolts to fire quicker. 102, 151. There's a Doom Bolts as well running in. That does so much damage, that ability. Wow. Look what it did to those Purifiers and Purgation. Purifiers are going to run in and have so much trouble here. Yeah, instantly forced off. Has not used Mark of Khorne Dreadnought. Was not expecting that. Forcing melee combat as they run away. Doesn't have a splash since it has the autocannon. Oh, Vindicator Saturn on the field. 88, 151. Using its turbo penetrator rounds to take shots at the Dreadnought. This thing does have 1,000 hit points. 1,100 now at level 2. Well, the captain doing what he can, decapping Protagonist's natural. Actually has a single now, Crewfinity, but he's going to lose his brother captain on retreat, I would think. Yes, a sync kill from the Chaos Dreadnought, breaking his back and throwing him down. Vindicator Assassin runs away. But is he just biding his time for Paladins here? Are they even going to do a lot for him? Level 4 Marco Zinc CSM going to do so much damage to Paladins, as well as this Sorcerer just annoying the crap out of them. 88, 132. Purifiers haven't really had that really good engagement they needed to have. Let's get in there and wipe something. Plague Marines pushing forward. There's Predator with Mark of Khorne. Basically just buffs the damage of all of its guns, especially the side-mounted heavy bolters, which should get a 75% damage increase, I believe. The main autocannon on top getting a 25% damage increase. 72, 132. Plague Marines unable to decap or anything, which is, I assume is what they were trying to do. Marco Zinc CSM coming towards the power. He has tons of power though, Crewfinity, so I don't think he's going to be too bothered about that. He needs, I think it's 650 rep to get some Paladins on the field. There's an orbital. What can he do with this? Going to take out the shrine at least. Don't think it's going to kill many heretics. Oh, knocks them into the other beam maybe. Level 4 heretics down to 4 models, 3 models, but they do get away. 53, 132. That Chaos Predator doing so much damage to Mark of Khorne. Already level 2, good grief. Purifiers run away. And these guys bashing power all the while. So now he has pretty much enough resources almost to get anything he wants. But is there anything he could get? Must say I've never seen Crewfinity play as Grey Knights before. Usually I see him playing Orcs, I think. It is Paladins. Terminator variants with big, heavy melee demon hammers. They will do a good job versus both these vehicles, but there's no reason why they should be able to catch the Chaos Predator, even with Holy Grounds up. They might be able to run into this Chaos Dreadnought and do some damage, but is it going to be enough? Because these guys, I assume, are going to be shooting at him. Here come the Purifiers, unable to repurchase the Justicard quite yet. Oh, he could, just has chosen not to so far. They're level 2. Sorcerer's capping mid. Going to be a 2-to-1 for Protagonist. Looks like he doesn't want to overextend and go for the triple. Purifiers are going around. He might go for a cheeky decap here. Not giving up. Crewfinity, ouch. Ouch, 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 ouch. That was a warp fire to knock them over. And then Doom Bolts went in and this Predator shooting at him. Pain. And that is Purgation level 3. That's the thing I've found using Purgation. They just seem to die so often and so quickly. Even though they have 300 hit points heavy infantry armor, they seem to just die a hell of a lot. 36, 132. I guess since they need to get kind of close with their incinerators maybe. Chaos Terminators on the field fighting Paladins. Teleporting away. Piercing damage won't do a whole lot against super heavy infantry Paladins. They're going for the side cannon. Wrist mounted on one of the models, I believe. There you see it. Just going to straight up fight them. Oh, Lightning Claw kills Terminators. They will rip Paladins to shreds. There's the Holy Grounds, allowing them to maybe escape. It speeds up allied units and slows down enemy units. But now he is using the Tome of Subjugation, which is just an absolute nightmare for Terminators. Actually used it to go after the Purgation instead of getting the Paladins into more trouble. Now we see the Lightning Claws go to work. But here's a brother captain helping out, but it was all for nothing because it's 132-0. Crewfinity losing to Protagonist, who played it quite well. Crewfinity with a big tier 1, which was going well for him, but he had that nasty Warp-Proof play. You see all the bodies here of those Purgations that he lost. Ouch. It's tough against a Sorcerer, I think, as a Grey Knight player, though he did misplay Crewfinity. Neither player played it perfectly. But an entertaining 1v1. Got to see some Grey Knights in action. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.